Olá, pessoal! Tudo bem com vocês? Sejam muito bem-vindos ao canal Inglês de Verdade. Hoje preparei algo especial para turbinar o seu aprendizado. Você vai ouvir um pequeno podcast em inglês e em seguida responder a 5 perguntas para testar sua compreensão. Essa atividade é uma forma prática e divertida de treinar o listening, aumentar o seu vocabulário e perceber o quanto você já consegue entender em inglês. Ah, e se quiser acompanhar com mais segurança, pode ativar as legendas em inglês que estão disponíveis no vídeo. Então prepare seus ouvidos, sua atenção e vamos juntos dar mais um passo no seu aprendizado.
Have you ever stopped to think about how much artificial intelligence has, well, kind of woven itself into our daily lives?
It's pretty amazing, isn't it? Sometimes quietly, sometimes not so quietly.
Exactly, like with personalized recommendations or, smart assistants answering you back.
Right. It feels like they've jumped right out of sci-fi and into,
Yeah.
well, being things we almost can't do without.
And the speed of it all is just staggering. But underneath all that, there's this huge, really high-stakes competition going on.
A global race, yeah, happening right now, shaping what comes next.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Today, we're doing a deep dive into what people are calling the AI race.
Sounds good.
Our mission really is to cut through the hype a bit, to understand what this race is really about, who the main players are.
And crucially, why it matters so much to, well, everyone.
Yeah, exactly. We'll just explore it, like we're figuring it out together.
And it's important to remember, this isn't just another tech trend.
No, definitely not.
It's more fundamental. We're talking about shifts in power, in influence, maybe even what it means to be human down the line.
Wow.
What's fascinating here, and maybe a bit daunting, is how much is at stake. It affects economies, politics, culture.
It really does feel like one of those big turning points in history you read about.
It has that potential, definitely, redefining global dynamics, but also just the texture of our everyday lives.
So when we say the AI race, what exactly are we talking about? What's the core of it?
At its heart, it's this unprecedented global sprint. You've got companies, governments, research labs.
All pouring in, what, billions of dollars?
Billions, yes.
Yeah.
And mobilizing huge teams, really smart people, all trying to get ahead to be the best in AI.
It's not just for bragging rights, then.
Oh, definitely not. It's about leading the next wave of technology, holding the keys to future innovation, essentially.
And why is it so intense? What makes AI different?
Well, I think the realization hit that AI isn't just a tool to automate things we already do.
Ah, right. It's more than that.
Much more. It can generate new ideas, create things, text, images, code, and even, worryingly perhaps, redefine what we see as truth online.
That makes it pretty unique compared to other technologies we've seen.
Exactly. So whoever leads in AI gets significant economic power, political clout, and yeah, cultural influence. It's about shaping the digital future, not just participating in it.
It feels like it happens so fast, but these ideas have been around for a while, haven't they?
Oh, absolutely. It's fascinating, actually. Let's maybe take a quick look back.
Yeah. How did we get here?
Well, the core ideas thinking machines, they go way back to the 1950s.
Mm.
People like Alan Turing, John McCarthy.
Yeah.
They were already thinking about computers that could learn.
But for decades, it was mostly theoretical, stuck in labs.
Pretty much. AI went through these cycles, excitement followed by AI winters, where funding dried up because progress was slow.
Right, I've heard of those.
But the big leap, the point where it got really practical, was around the 2010s.
What changed then?
That's when we saw a huge progress in machine learning, and especially deep neural networks.
Oh, deep neural networks, basically very complex computer systems learning from tons of data.
Exactly. They learn by spotting really complex patterns in massive data sets. That made AI suddenly much more capable for real-world stuff.
So how did these, old ideas suddenly become so powerful and, well, usable by everyone, not just academics?
A huge piece of that puzzle was the rise of large language models, or LLMs.
LLMs, right? We hear that term all the time now.
And they can seem like just incredibly fancy predictive text, right? Guessing the next word.
Yes, sort of.
But they operate on such a massive scale, trained on just unbelievable amounts of text and data.
That they develop surprising abilities.
Precisely. Understanding context, generating creative writing, following complex instructions,
Yeah.
it goes way beyond just predicting the next word.
And that's what made AI feel so conversational and easy to use.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
It really democratized it, put it into people's hands in a way we hadn't seen before.
And that accessibility, that feeling of AI moving from the lab into our apps, that really set off the current race, didn't it?
Absolutely. Let's talk about the players who really lit the fuse.
Okay, so big tech companies were already using AI behind the scenes, right?
Yeah, companies like Google, Meta, which was Facebook then,
Yeah.
of course, Amazon, Microsoft. They were early adopters of deep learning.
Using it for things like better search results or recommending products.
Exactly. Refining algorithms, analyzing data. Useful stuff, but mostly backstage.
But then came the big bang moment.
You could call it that. The public launch of ChatGPT by OpenAI at the end of 2022. That felt like the real starting gun for this intense phase.
Because it wasn't just improving something existing.
Right. It showed everyone very clearly that AI could be a direct product. Powerful, engaging, something anyone could interact with, not just a tool for engineers.
And the reaction from the other giants was fast.
Immediate and huge. Everyone scrambled to respond, to stake their claim.
Microsoft, for instance.
They moved incredibly quickly, formed that massive multi-billion-dollar partnership with OpenAI.
And started integrating GPT tech into Bing, into Microsoft 365.
Making AI a core feature for literally millions of users, almost overnight.
Meanwhile, Google, they must have seen that as a direct threat to search.
Oh, absolutely. They rushed to counter, launching their own model, Bard, which they've now renamed Gemini. It was very much about protecting their dominance in search.
And Meta, Facebook's parent company.
They took a different route,
Yeah.
interestingly. They focused on open models, like Llama.
Open meaning, more accessible.
Yeah, available for researchers and developers to use and build upon, which fosters a different kind of innovation, a strategic choice.
Then you have others like Anthropic.
Right, founded by people who actually left OpenAI. They developed Claude with a really strong focus on AI, safety, and sort of controlled ethical responses.
That's their angle, their differentiator,
Seems to be, yeah, and it's a critical one. Then there's Amazon.
who provide a lot of the computing power needed for this stuff with AWS.
Exactly, the crucial cloud infrastructure. But they're also investing heavily in their own models and backing various AI startups.
So it's clear every major player sees this as absolutely vital.
Without a doubt. Each move just reinforces this idea. AI isn't just another product. It's the battleground for who leads the digital world next.
And it's not just happening in Silicon Valley, is it? This is global.
Very much so. You absolutely have to talk about China's role here. It's significant and growing fast.
Companies like Baidu, Alibaba.
Tencent, too. Major Chinese tech firms. They're all developing their own very competitive AI models.
Often tailored for their own huge market, I imagine.
Yes, but it goes beyond just companies. The Chinese government sees AI as strategically vital.
For what? Economic reasons? Security?
All of the above. National independence, economic growth, national security. They're investing massively to reduce reliance on foreign tech and become a global AI leader.
So if you step back, this corporate race has geopolitical layers too.
Definitely. It's escalated pretty quickly into a clear geopolitical rivalry. Well, AI is increasingly viewed as a strategic asset. Think about how nuclear capabilities or the space race were seen in the 20th century.
Okay, so it's that level of strategic importance.
It's heading that way. The US, China, they're not just competing on who has the best AI. They're also competing to set the rules.
The ethical guidelines. Security standards.
Exactly. Who gets to define how this powerful technology is used globally? That's a huge part of the contest now. It's about influence on multiple levels.
And inside the world of AI development itself, there's a big debate raging, right? About open versus closed models.
Yes, a really important one. It's about open source versus proprietary AI.
Proprietary means models like OpenAI's or Anthropic's, controlled by one company.
That's right. The company controls development, often prioritizing quality and safety, they argue. But they keep the inner workings private.
Which limits what others can do with it.
It does. Access and customization are restricted.
And the alternative is open models, like Meta's Llama.
Or models from independent research groups, yeah. These are designed so anyone can access, use, and adapt them.
Which sounds good for innovation, more people working on it.
It can definitely speed things up, absolutely.
Yeah.
A whole community can contribute and improve them. But
There's a but.
there's a but.
Yeah.
It also raises concerns about misuse. If anyone can grab a powerful model, who controls how it's used?
Right. That makes sense. So it boils down to a fundamental question.
Yeah. Should powerful AI be treated more like a public good, something everyone can access and improve?
Or more like private property, controlled by a few big players.
Yeah, exactly. That's the core tension. How do you encourage rapid progress while making sure it's safe and controlled? That's a tough balance.
So, okay, we've talked about the companies, the countries, the tech. But what does this race actually mean for us, for everyday people?
The impact question. And it's not abstract at all. It's already having very real, tangible effects.
Like on jobs, I hear a lot about that.
Definitely. Think about sectors like customer service, marketing, even journalism, parts of programming. They're being significantly changed by AI automation.
It's affecting how we work or might work in the future.
For sure. And it's not just about losing jobs, but also changing the nature of the jobs that remain. Then there's education.
Oh yeah, students using AI for homework, teachers using it for lesson plans.
Exactly. AI tools are becoming common for learning, creating content, organizing information. It's really shaking up traditional teaching and learning methods.
And what about creativity? Art, music?
That's another huge area. AI tools that generate images, video, music, they're everywhere now.
Sparking big debates about, oh, well, who's the author? What is human creativity anymore?
Precisely. And intellectual property rights, too. Really fundamental questions.
And then there's the information landscape, politics.
A critical one. AI can be a double-edged sword here. It can help fight misinformation.
But it can also be used to create it, very convincingly.
On a massive scale, yeah. Disinformation, fake news. AI makes it easier and faster to spread, which is a serious challenge for trust and democracy.
So when you add it all up,
This AI race isn't just about who builds the smartest machine. It's a competition for social influence, economic power, and it's reshaping our world right now as we speak.
it's kind of amazing how deeply it's already woven into things.
It really is. Influencing how we learn, what we buy, maybe even what we believe, often without us even noticing. It touches almost everything.
But with all this speed and competition, there must be risks, right? Big challenges.
Oh, absolutely. Significant ones. First off, just basic security.
Meaning AI being used for bad things.
Yeah. As models get more powerful, the risk grows that they could be used for sophisticated cyber attacks, maybe even controlling autonomous weapons. Really scary stuff.
And you mentioned disinformation.
Right. Things like deepfakes, those super realistic fake videos or audio clips.
Yeah, those are unsettling.
They, along with AI-generated fake text, can be incredibly effective at manipulating public opinion, sowing chaos. It's a huge threat.
What else?
Well, there's the concentration of power issue. What happens if just a few giant companies control the AI that billions of people rely on?
Like a technological oligarchy.
Sort of, yeah. That raises questions about fairness, access, censorship. And then there's the race itself.
The pressure to win.
Exactly. The pressure to release the next big thing fast might mean cutting corners on safety checks, on ethical reviews. An uncontrolled race could be dangerous for everyone.
Are people trying to address these risks? Is there talk of regulation?
Yes, definitely. These aren't just theoretical worries anymore. Governments worldwide are talking about and starting to implement specific AI regulations.
Like the EU AI Act? I've heard about that.
That's a major example, yes. It tries to classify AI systems by risk level and set rules accordingly. It aims to be a global standard.
So the big question becomes,
How do we balance this incredible pace of innovation, the potential benefits of AI, with the very real need for strong safety rules and ethical guidelines?
that's the multi-trillion-dollar question, isn't it?
It really is. It requires careful thought and probably unprecedented global cooperation.
So looking ahead then, crystal ball time. What might the future of this race look like? Where could it go?
Well, one likely direction is even more powerful: multimodal models.
Multimodal meaning
Yeah.
handling different types of data.
Exactly. AI that doesn't just understand text, but seamlessly integrates voice, images, video.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even takes actions within software for you, blurring those lines.
Okay, so AI becomes even more integrated.
Yeah, and perhaps total integration with our personal devices. Think AI assistants deeply embedded in phones, maybe augmented reality glasses, cars, becoming much more proactive, maybe even anticipating what you need.
Sounds convenient, potentially slightly creepy.
Both are possible. And then there's the regulation aspect we just touched on.
More global rules.
It seems likely. A bigger push for minimum standards on safety, transparency, maybe trying to manage those risks we discussed.
And the ultimate prize, way down the line.
Well, the far future concept is superintelligence.
AI, much smarter than humans.
That's the idea. Still highly theoretical, of course, but it raises profound ethical and existential questions. For some, that's seen as the final frontier, the ultimate goal of this race.
Wow. Okay, so let's try to wrap this up. To recap.
The AI race is genuinely global, it's transformative, and it's already changing things in big ways.
And it's not just about which company or country wins.
No, it's much deeper. It's about how our societies, our economies, even our understanding of ourselves will be shaped for a long time to come.
It really influences our work, our free time, maybe even how we think about intelligence itself.
You know, if we connect this to the bigger picture, think about the space race in the 20th century.
Okay.
It forever changed global politics, the economy, culture.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, this AI race has the potential to do something similar, maybe even bigger. Redefining the limits of what it means to be human in a world that's increasingly mediated by machines.
That's quite a thought. It forces us to think about our place in all this.
And the choices we're making right now about how AI develops, they matter immensely.
So as you, our listeners, go about your day, maybe think about this deep dive, notice where AI might be touching your life next.
In your phone, your job, the news you read, it's becoming ever present.
Definitely. We really hope this conversation has given you a bit of a shortcut to understanding this incredibly important and honestly really exciting topic.
And maybe sparked a few new questions for you to mull over.
Muito bem, pessoal! Se você chegou até aqui, parabéns por ter colocado seu inglês em prática. Esse tipo de exercício é ótimo para treinar o ouvido, aprender novas palavras e ganhar cada vez mais confiança no idioma. Se você gostou desse podcast e das perguntas de compreensão, não esqueça de deixar o like, se inscrever no canal e ativar o sininho para não perder os próximos conteúdos. Aqui no Inglês de Verdade, a gente segue junto nessa jornada para torná-lo aprendizado cada vez mais fácil e motivador. Então, continue praticando, porque cada passo conta. Nos vemos no próximo vídeo.
E se você assistiu até aqui e quer aprender inglês sem gastar um centavo durante todo o processo de aprendizagem, com acesso a ferramentas, atalhos e mentoria que vai fazer com que você absorva o inglês de forma rápida e natural, eu te convido a conhecer o método Os 9 Passos para a Fluência, onde você vai conhecer a forma correta de aprender um inglês.
Good. Now we can go in the water.
Com acesso a ferramentas que irão te auxiliar nesse aprendizado. E o melhor, todas encontradas de forma gratuita. E entre essas ferramentas, uma você usará para manter contato com nativos do inglês para que sua prática de conversação seja mais eficaz. Porque nada melhor do que absorver o inglês diretamente da fonte. E quando eu digo que essas ferramentas são gratuitas, eu não quero dizer que apenas o primeiro mês será grátis, como degustação, e que se você quiser continuar usando, você terá que pagar. Todas as ferramentas que serão apresentadas a você nesse método são gratuitas para o resto da vida, até quando você quiser usar. Esse método é perfeito para você que não tem ideia de como e por onde começar, e para você que já tem um conhecimento em inglês, mas ainda não conquistou a fluência. Nele você será apresentado a atalhos que vão acelerar seu aprendizado, que estudantes que estão começando não fazem ideia que existem. 99% das pessoas que colocarem esse método em prática, seguindo passo a passo, conseguirão realizar seu sonho de se tornar fluente em inglês. Então, se você acha que finalmente chegou a hora de realizar seu sonho e dominar de vez o inglês, clique no primeiro link da descrição, que eu tenho certeza que você não vai se arrepender.